Rape gangs and beheadings. What a great way to start the day, right? Well, are they coming to America? I think it's very possible. That's what I want to talk about today. And I'll tell you, we are on the road there. So, good morning and welcome to Integrative Preparedness. Grab yourself a cup of whatever you drink in the morning so that you can think clearly and we can discuss this. This is one of our top-selling mugs. The only commie idea liberals hate. And crossed AKs with a 762 on the side, right? Isn't that funny? People love that. People buy these by the set of 4 so they can share them with their friends. And also, I just realized I'm wearing one of our Stonemont t-shirts. Camp, can you see that? Camp Stonemont. Isn't that a pretty shirt? Yeah, my son designed that. You can find both of those on our website, stonemont.us. So, are we headed toward beheadings and rape gangs in the United States? I think it's very possible. I've talked the last few videos on the increasing Islamization of the United States, the increasing racial hatred that's building in our country. So we have racial hatred and we have religious hatred. And I tell you, there's no two better ways to get people going than those. And if you want the big kaboom, I guess you mix those together, and we're headed for that kaboom if we don't do something about it. I put something up on, I forget what it was, but it was, one of our patrons on the Patreon channel added when I was talking about this. And if you're not with us on our Patreon channel, shame on you, because we put so much stuff over there that never it gets put on YouTube. And we have such a smart bunch of patrons over there. You learn as much, if not more, from them than you do from me. And I learn over there all the time. By the way, I want to put in here right now an invitation to the guys on Patreon. We just had somebody ask me a question over there. Said, have you done one recently on communications? And I said, no, because I don't know that much about it. I'll be real honest. I don't know that much about it, and I stay away from those things that I don't know about. More people ought to do that, you know what? Yeah. So I'm asking those of you, and I know there are a bunch of you out there who are experts on communication, would you, on this particular one, and we also have a ham subsite over there for those who want to get into that. Would you talk about communications for those who want to know? Okay, now, let me get back to things that I know about here, okay? So we had a comment on, I think, yesterday's or the day before, and one of our patrons said, do you remember the Midwestern woman who was decapitated, who was beheaded by the Muslim at her workplace? And I remembered that. It happened down in Moore, Oklahoma, at Vaughn Foods. And so I put the link. I think I put the link up on Patreon. That's one thing we do over there that we don't do on YouTube. I don't allow links on YouTube, but we put them up all the time over on Patreon so that we can, people can go to it and refer to it. It happened in Moore, Oklahoma. It's been some time ago, 10 years, something like that. And a guy who got mad, who didn't like white people. Steve, why are you bringing race into this? I'm not. He did. He beheaded a woman because he didn't like white people. The guy's name was Alton. I just read this a few minutes ago. Alton Alexander Nolan. I read it because I put the link up over there for everybody to watch. If you want to know about this case, just Google Vaughn Foods beheading incident. Okay. So this guy he went to prison down in Oklahoma for assaulting a police officer. During his time in there, apparently that's when his radicalization began because he hated white people. He would threaten Caucasians. We have a lot of people online doing that. Did you know that? Yeah. You'd be surprised of the comments that I have had to remove from this, from people, coming at me for being white. Hey, I'm not going to hide from that. See, they rely on that. They think they can say any damn thing in the world that they want to, and nobody's going to call them on it. I call them on it. First off, I call them on it, and then I ban them, and then I talk about it here, and I want to warn you all, there is a great deal of racial hatred out there. And I know that we have people here on this channel of all races and religions. Great, good to have you. I'm sure you're a fine person if you are a member here, if you're a subscriber, if you're just wandering by and you're one of those who wants to come on and make some racial comment, or if you're just one that says, I'm black and I don't know anybody that feels that way. I want to reiterate, I'm glad you don't know anybody that feels that way. I don't think I know anybody that feels that way either, but that doesn't mean they're not out there, and I see them all the time because I'm starting to look into this. And the more I look into this, guys, you look into this stuff, and you will be more concerned than you are right now, because there is stuff out there more than you think. Anyway, so Mr. Nolan changed his name. He went to work at this Vaughn Foods after he got out of prison the first time, and he was angry all the time. They said he would like to beat Caucasians, and he would like to he made people call him Muhammad. So apparently, he had self-radicalized, into Islam, and so he got fired because of his behavior. Imagine that, fired because your behavior is abhorrent. And so he came back, I don't know, sometime later, the next day or whenever, doesn't matter. He came back, and he came in with a butcher knife, and he cut off this woman's head. Cut off her head right there at Vaughn Foods. And then he stabbed another woman. He got caught. He's in prison. He got the death penalty, which naturally was, downgraded to life imprisonment because, right? So it's not the first time that we've seen this happen, right? It hasn't happened a lot in the United States, but it has happened. And we see an increasing amount of Islamic hatred and influence in our country. Danger, Will Robinson, right? Danger, danger, danger. If you don't see the danger signs, you're not paying attention. We see what's happening in Great Britain, the not so Great Britain. We've seen how it's not, England isn't England anymore, right? I know that we have some viewers from over there, so feel free to let me know what you think. What's happening in your country? What happened? One of the greatest empires that there's ever been. The sun never set on the British Empire, right? They were some of the most warlike people you could ever imagine, the English, because the English were made up of a whole bunch of warlike people. The Romans went in and they were a warlike people, and they conquered the Celts and the Picts. Well, they didn't get above Hadrian's Wall, but you know what I mean. And then they were invaded by the Angles and the Saxons, Germanic warlike tribes, the Anglo-Saxons, right? And then they were invaded by and conquered by the Normans. Do you know who the Normans were? They weren't a bunch of guys named Norman. They were Vikings who had come down and come up through France, and they were destroying so much of France that France said, hey, let us give you a part of France, and you just be there, don't attack us anymore, right? And they called it Normandy. Norsemen, men from the north, right? Normandy. And so those were the Normans. And they crossed across the English Channel, and they They conquered the Anglo-Saxons. You ever see, what was that movie? Robert Taylor was in it. Oh, what was it? Great movie. I'll think of it later if I do. One of you will know. And so the Normans did. And from then on, a warlike. You could not find a more warlike people than the British, the English. Okay. And then they went around and they conquered the world. And then what happened to them? They've become a bunch of feckless, ineffective, effeminate people who wouldn't stand up against those coming into their country. They became so liberal, probably after we spanked their butts in the War of 1812, after spanking their butts royally in the Revolution. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. Telling it like it is. I know that's what you get when you come here. You get it like it is. Right? Waiting for your comment, because I will delete you. So they just went downhill ever since then. And they allowed all of these immigrants into their country, many of whom are Islamic. And these Muslim groups have essentially conquered England. Okay, they have no-go zones. The police won't go there. They operate under Sharia law, blah, blah, blah. The rape gangs, the grooming gangs, who have groomed and raped untold thousands of little British girls, essentially went unpunished. The police turned their eye. The British people turned their eye. They turned away. The same thing's happening in France. The same thing happened in Sweden. The same thing happened in, I don't know where else. Okay, there's a couple of countries holding out. And these animalistic immigrants have come in to these countries and perpetrated the most, what word would you ascribe to it? I mean, horrendous, animalistic, unbelievable crimes against the country and the people of it. Little kids, little girls groomed and gang raped. And when the parents sometimes complain about it, they get in trouble by the police for being hateful. Hate speech because they accused a Muslim. Guys, that's what's coming to America if America doesn't stand up now. I wrote about this in my books. If you've read my books, and I should say something. I want to thank everybody. I meant to say this. I want to thank everyone. I had the most unbelievable day yesterday. We had a record sales day on our website for my books, the Stonemont series. There you go. You know why I'm surprised at that and why I want to thank you all so much? Because the last couple of days I've been announcing for quite a while, that we are over a month late in fulfilling orders that we're getting in for my books because we've had so many orders. And people are waiting 4 or 5, 6 weeks to get their orders because there have been so many orders, and we've been trying to keep up. We're getting better. We're trying to keep up, but still we're running late because of how many orders. And I said this the other day, or just yesterday, and I said, if you realize you're going to have to wait if you want them from me, and I love it when you do that. But you can also get them through Amazon, and they get them to you quick because, they're Amazon, right? I'm not Amazon. And I said, you want to get them quick, get them through Amazon. I love it when you get them through me because I get to sign each one for you. This isn't all of them. I actually had to give a couple of my personal copies and fulfill an order the other day because I'm waiting for the next order to come in. By the way, some people have asked. My fulfillment people have said they've gotten a couple of messages like, what can you give me an update on my order? They're not really set up to answer that questions, and it won't speed up your order, but I just want to assure everybody, if you put in your order, we have your order, and it will be, orders are fulfilled in the order in which we got them. So, there you go. but you'll get them. But anyway, if you get them from me, I get to sign them, each one for you, write a note in there to you. We give them to you as a discount for the whole book. Now this isn't all of them. Like I say, the whole series is the reversion, the revival, the renewal, and appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom, hostages to fortune, and on wings like eagles. And that's the latest one. Now working on number 8, and we get them to you as a discount if you buy the set, which is how most people do, because we save money when we ship them that way. So we pass it on to you, and I throw in the Stonemont notebook for free from me to you. You'll love this. It'll let you write, a place for you to write in all your thoughts and all your preparedness plans and all your questions in the books and everything like that. So I just wanted to thank everybody. After I have been announcing how behind we are in fulfilling orders, we have had record day after record day after record day. I mean, I can't thank you enough for the support that you've given me, and it just means a lot to me. I can't express it. I thank God for his blessings. I ask him to guide me in everything that I do. And so there you have it. If you want to order them from me, do them through our website, stonemont.us. That's down below. Okay. And that's also, where you get t-shirts and mugs and things like that. But in these, I talk about after the collapse of everything. And it's the story of a family, a prepared family who, after a collapse of everything, as a result of their preparedness, is able to continue to live well, but then also help other people and then rebuild community and society and all that. And I talk in there about a self-styled caliph, Somali warlord from Minnesota. And I've been in Minnesota. I thought I was in Somalia. I think that state is beyond salvation, as is Michigan, and it looks like a couple of others are headed that way. But after collapse of everything, this Somali warlord, as using his Islamic power up there, wants to create a new caliphate. And I talk about the enslavement and the slaughter of non-Muslims, how he moves down through Minnesota, through Iowa, through Nebraska, enslaving groups. It gets gruesome. I will be real honest. I talk about the gruesome stuff. And then I talk about how to solve it. That's a happy place. Might take you. So if you want that, remember, get them. Amazon if you want them fast. Stonemont.us if you want them from me. And I love that. And I thank you for it. But we are seeing this coming to our country. The time to stand against this, and I'll talk in a minute about how to stand against it, is now. The longer you wait to treat a problem, the bigger the problem is, the more you have to do to fix it, and it can get to the point where it's not fixable. Ireland is seeing this now. Ireland is now getting up. The Irish love to get upset, and they're good at it, to be honest. I mean, they've been occupied by the English for 800 years, but now they've been shipping in all the immigrants over there, and immigrants are taking all the jobs. And again, they're seeing the initiation of Sharia law. They're seeing them take over. 20 years ago, I was in, what was it? How long ago? 22 years ago, I was over in the north of Ireland, that people call Northern Ireland. And I've remarked to people, and I told this to some Irish guys that I knew over there. I says, I've never seen so many Chinese restaurants in my life. They said, what? Yeah, I said, I've never seen so many Chinese restaurants in my life. He says, really? Chinese restaurants all over the place. The funniest thing that I ever saw, I was in Donegal, and I look up and here's a Chinese restaurant, Shamrock Chinese restaurant. Another thing that I said, and there's a lesson here. I said to one of them, I says, I couldn't believe all the palm trees that I saw, that I've seen in Ireland. He said, palm trees? I said, yeah, palm trees. I mean, I expect to see palm trees in Hawaii and Florida and stuff like that. Not in Ireland. He says, I've never seen any palm trees. I said, you got to be kidding me. They're all around. And we were in a hotel in where were we in this? We were in Belfast Dublin, and that's where I met Jerry Adams. I'll tell a story about that sometime. And I said, go outside the door. We went outside the door, and I said, look at all those palm trees. He said, well, I'll be darned. Here's a guy who had lived all his life in Ireland, never realized it was full of palm trees. Never realized how many Chinese restaurants there were. You know what this shows you? When you get used to something, you don't see it. You see what you expect to see. You see what you're looking for. You see, and you don't see what you're not looking for. That's the danger. It becomes so much a part of the background that if it's not what's on your main radar, you don't see it. You have to see it. So the Irish are getting all upset now, and they're standing up against the immigration. Another thing that I told an Irish guy about during that time, but this was back in the United States, I was drinking in an Irish pub here in Kansas City, and there was a guy tending bar. He was from Ireland, so we got to talking about things, and I said, what do you think about all the immigration coming into your country? And at that time, it was Polish immigration. And he said, I think it's just great. He says, I think it's fine. It'll give Ireland a chance to show that they are as welcoming of other people as other countries have been of the Irish. And I said, man, you don't know what you're doing. Now, the Poles at the time, they were hard workers and good workers, but they were displacing a lot of the Irish workers. That was necessary because so many Irish were leaving Ireland because of the bad economic situation over there. They were coming to America or Australia or other places. And so people needed jobs, and they were hiring other people. They were hiring Poles. But later on, it became different, and now they were inviting all of these third world immigrants in, and are just destroying their country. And they are now rioting against that. But let me tell you something. If we have any people here from Ireland watching, I think it's too late for you. I'm serious. I think it's too late for you. England, my family is mainly English. Actually, I would be if we had stayed there. Well, it doesn't matter. I won't get into that. But we were thrown out of England as a result of the Wyatt Rebellion. My family has always had a hard time getting along, right? Wyatt Rebellion, and it was the Wyatts that I named the main character in the Stonemont series after. And then we came over to the United States. We were in South Carolina, and we were the first. One of my ancestors, Arthur Middleton, was one of the signers of the Declaration, and so we were rebels in that case. And then in South Carolina was the first to secede from the Union, so we were rebels. I come from a long line of rebels, and I'm proud of it. But England is done. You're not coming back from this. You are not. My concern, however, is America and whether we're going to be able to come back from this. And I'm going to tell you right now, if we don't start doing something about it now, it will be too late. It will be just like England. One of the problems with England is it lost its religion. It became more secular. Now, England always had a problem with religion. England always had a problem with Christianity in that their Christianity was mixed with politics. Okay, the Church of England and King James and all that, right? And on and on and on. And many other problems, and many of you know what those problems are. I'm not going to get into you know there are some things there, right? Some of you know there are some things there. This isn't the video for that. America started going down when we started changing, when we as a country lost the unity of our shared religion and our passion for our dedication to it. Most people, even now, who consider themselves Christians, are really secular Christians. They go to church. They go to these churches who don't speak the truth. They don't speak biblical truth. They go to church as an activity. They belong to a club. They're fed pablum, little baby food of stuff that's that goes down easily, right? And they just a false religion. The true Christianity, the true message of Christ is not preached. And most people, as a result, because they're taught to just tolerate, tolerance and forgive everything, and realizing they think that all religions are equal. Now, I didn't mean to get off into a religion, but this is where we started to fall. They fall prey for this. And so when these Christian pastors invite a Muslim religious person, an imam, into the church to talk about Islam, and the guy comes in and says, Islam is a religion of peace. We are just like you. We are just like Christianity, except maybe even more so, because we believe in Jesus was a prophet, and so is Muhammad. Muhammad was his last prophet. And therefore, if you watched what I put up on Patreon the other day, you know that to be Mecca Islam, not Medina Islam, not when Islam changed under Muhammad, when he became a warlord, after he became a pedophile. But I digress. And so these people go to churches and they think, well, our pastor welcomed this Muslim holy man in, and so we're all alike, and we're gonna no. They're gonna slit your throat. Once there gets to be enough, and they are able to control the governments, just like they have in Minnesota and Michigan, and now attempting to in New York City, your life will change. Your life will change. And if we don't stand up against it now, it will be soon too late. And the way we stand up against it now is to educate ourselves. Know what true Islam is. Know what your true belief is. Do you, as a Christian, know what your true belief is? Heck, I see all sorts of videos out here by people on preparedness channels who purport to be Christians, and the message that they're spreading is not Christian at all. And yet most people don't even realize why it's not. If you want, I'll give a little plug here. I don't put a lot of stuff up on the church channel, Stonemont Church. The link's down below. But if you want to know a little bit about these things, and you're interested, you might join us over on Stonemont Church channel. I think I'll be talking more about this in the future. And like I say, I don't put a lot over there, but I put the real stuff over there. And you need to know the real stuff, because the real stuff is going to enable you to stand up against this. This has to be resisted. It has to be fought against. And you have to know the truth in order to do that. You have to be involved in politics. You have to be involved in the political process. And we have too many people, especially in the prepper world, who don't want to be involved in politics. They'll make all these chest thumping. I'll stand up out of my dead hands, 2A this, and I'll stand up, and I'm not gonna go out and vote for the lesser of two evils, which means you're allowing the greater of two evils to prevail. I'm not. They're selected, not elected. I'm just too good for that. You're weak. You really are. You're weak. You won't take the responsibility of learning about issues and actually taking a stand. Remember what Edmund Burke said: all that's necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And I maintain, if evil is on the horizon and a man won't stand up and do something, he's not good. So, the superior aloofness of these people who they're too good to vote. They're just too smart to vote. The rest of us are idiots. They're weak. They're cowards. The rest of you who are willing to learn, who are willing to stand up, who are willing to actually take a stand against evil. And in order to take a stand against evil, you have to know what evil is. You have to be able to recognize it. And if you don't learn about it, you're not going to recognize it. You know the road to hell, right? What's it paved with? Good intentions. Oh, I'm a good person. I'm just a good person. I don't want to condemn anybody. Oh my gosh. Well, you can't condemn anybody anyway. That's up to the good Lord. You can certainly condemn behavior. And if you're too weak to do that, you're part of the problem. And I just hope that as you're getting your head cut off, you remember today. Did I laugh at that? I didn't mean to laugh. It is just so ludicrous, the weakness of people who won't stand up. I still live in hope that there are enough people with the strength to stand up. I hope that there are. And I think we need to separate from those who are not. Separate from the weak ones, guys. Separate from the weak ones. That may mean that we have to separate from geographically. Right. That's down the road a bit. That's a long road, but we will see what happens, okay? All right. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say today. But think about it. If you want what's happening in Great Britain to happen here, if you want to see the rape gangs and the beheadings like happened down in Moore, Oklahoma, just do nothing. Just do nothing. Just complain about it. Just whine about it. If you want to stand up and do something, do it. Okay? All right. Remind you one more time. Stonemont series. If you want to see how it was solved in here, get them. Get them fast through Amazon. Get them signed by me. And a little note put in there to you and everything. I love doing that. Be willing to wait. Okay? All right. I don't have the cup that says we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, but that's what we do. And I'll tell you, this is one of the greatest dangers that we've seen on our horizon in years. So learn about it, prepare for it, stand against it. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.